Coming up, more than 3,000 new jobs are being created for Universal Orlando. The son of Muppets creator Jim Henson has passed away, and a fire broke out at the Journey of the Little Mermaid attraction in the Magic Kingdom. Plus, we talk about what it's like to be a cast member at Disney World. All that coming up. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the DIS Unplugged. This is the DIS Unplugged, episode number 679 for the week of February 18th, 2014. The DIS Unplugged is sponsored by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. You can receive up to a $1,000 shipboard credit on your next Disney cruise vacation when you choose Dreams Unlimited Travel. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Sean Thompson, Craig Williams, Kathy Whirling, Corey Martin, and, of course, our producer, Dustin West, back in the production nook. And before we get started, I do want to give Dustin some props here. Some changes that have happened behind the scenes at the show over the last couple of months would be pretty transparent, I think, to most of our viewers and our listeners. But around the beginning of the year, with the first show of the year, actually, Dustin took over fully in the producer's role. And right now, pretty much all the aspects of the show you're taking care of, from planning the segments every week. You put together my script for me. You're doing all the slides. Yeah. You're doing and this was like divvied up between like Sean and Craig and Dustin for a while, and I was helping out with certain things. Mm-hmm. And now we've just kind of dumped everything on him. And I know there was much rejoicing on this side of the table. But I just wanted to give Dustin his props for that. That he's been doing a great job, kind of juggling all those balls.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's still a very much a team effort. There's still a lot of other things that everybody contributes, but yeah, definitely been taking on a lot more responsibility with it, and it's been fun. I like it, and yeah, thank you.
We hadn't mentioned it, so I wanted to make sure we kind of gave you that pat in the back.
Cool, thank you.
So, all right, in housekeeping this week. First up, just want to remind everybody to check out our YouTube channel. You'll find our DIS Unplugged videos as well as many of the other great videos that we produce each week. Just search for WDW Info on YouTube or go to our show notes page, disunplugged.com, and follow the links from there. Also want to remind you to check out the DIS Unplugged fan page on Facebook. We're going to start doing some fun things there, and actually we started doing some fun things already. But you'll need to like our Facebook page to participate. Just do a search for the DIS Unplugged on Facebook or go to our show notes page, and you can find out about that. We did put a poll up. We're going to start doing weekly polls on the on our DIS Unplugged Facebook page, and giving out prizes randomly to people who respond to those polls. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that later on. We're also going to be doing some contests on that page. So head over there on Facebook, the DIS Unplugged fan page, like our page, and we'll be doing some fun stuff. So do that now. Oh, the dogs are going.
And there was a shadow man behind you.
Oh, and there's we have workers at the house right now.
Shadow man.
But the shadow man is behind me, and the neighbors' dogs are barking. So I also want to make sure we remind everybody to check out the DIS Unplugged Disneyland edition, hosted by Tom Bell, along with his team, Nancy Johnson, Tony Spatel, Michael Bowling, and Mary Jo Mulatto Willie. That show is available every Thursday on iTunes, and you can also listen to it from disunplugged.com.
And I actually have what's coming up next week.
Yeah, because nobody sent it to me.
Yeah,
so.
Well, like you were saying,
I'm just hosting now.
I put together the script, and I forgot to. This came in last minute, so I forgot to put it in.
I'm glad I pointed out to everybody that you do this stuff now, so they can also see your failures.
Tom has sent me this in this week's Disneyland show. Dizzer Lisa Kramer returns with a trip report from her Disneyland vacation, and popular Disney artist Dave Avanzino talks about some new pieces he's created for the steampunk exhibit opening this weekend at the Disney Gallery. So that sounds really cool.
Is this dog in my house?
It sounds like it.
They're usually not that loud.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, DIS Unplugged Disneyland show Thursdays. Listen, especially Dave Avanzino's on, my favorite Disney artist,
Yeah.
Dave Avanzino. So definitely listen for that. Also want to make sure we plug the upcoming DIS Meets to raise money for Give Kids the World. We have the North Texas Meet, the Fort Worth area, March 22nd. The New Jersey Meet, April 25th through the 27th. The Harrisburg, Hershey Park, Pennsylvania Meet, June 13th through the 15th. The Nova Scotia Meet, August 8th through the 10th of 2014. The Indianapolis Meet, September 6th, 2014. The Venerable New England Meet, October 3rd through the 5th. And sometime in October also, looks like there'll be one in Arizona. So we have a really nice slate of...
And there's also Delaware sometime in November.
November, yeah. That never seems to get added to my script. Dustin has something against the Delaware people. I don't know what it is. Just blaming him.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to make sure I pointed this stuff out.
Thanks.
No, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. Excited about those meets. Very excited about those meets. So many of us will be attending and doing a live show from those meets. So if you want to come meet the team and watch a show in person, that's a great way to do it and a great way to raise money for a really worthy cause. Give Kids the World. Links to all that information and details on those meets, disunplugged.com. Just check out our show notes page, and we'll have links to all that stuff where you can find all that great information. Pardon. Anything else in housekeeping?
No.
Don't
Really?
think so.
Well, John and Kevin aren't here. I want to make sure I mention that. John and Kevin are not here this week. They are out in California doing the one of our exclusive Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic trips.
And evidently they're getting caviar from vending machines.
They're getting caviar from
They
vending.
tweeted that this morning. So
That sounds safe.
That sounds
Yeah.
very Los Angeles,
sounds
though.
riddled with salmonella.
You know, that sounds like something you find in Los Angeles. So, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, then. If there's nothing for housekeeping, we'll turn it over to Sean Apu with the news.
All right, lots of pressure. Okay, so 3,500 new jobs have been announced for Universal Orlando. Universal Orlando will be hiring 3,500 workers for their new Cabana Bay Beach Resort, as well as the expansions at City Walk, Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The new jobs were announced at a press conference on Friday, February 14th, with Florida Governor Rick Scott, Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, and Universal officials in attendance.
Wow, that's a hell of a dais.
Well, everyone kept making Voldemort jokes because of Rick Scott.
Rick Scott looks like Voldemort. Yeah, he does.
Governor Scott said 3,500 new jobs, 3,500 families now that can live their dream. I would like to thank
Making minimum wage. Yeah, thanks, Governor
of
Scott.
working at a 60s retro resort. I would like to thank everyone for doing this. I'd like to thank everyone in the tourism industry for all their hard work, creating unbelievable experiences for the whole world to come visit. Scott spoke about Florida's recent increase in tourism numbers. 2013 saw a new record of 94.7 million visitors to the state, up 3.5% from the year before. Scott wants to give $100 million to Visit Florida, the state's official tourism marketing corporation, to use in promoting the state to tourists.
Okay. I am not going to say anything.
Say it.
No. No, so he can take it away from the handicap. That's why. Because the first thing this man did when he came into office was cut social services to the neediest of our state's citizens. That was the first thing he did. But let's hand $100 million to Visit Florida for that. You know, look, I'm all for promoting tourism, but when the stuff hits the fan and we got to start making decisions about where the money needs to be spent, I think ignoring and cutting off the least among us is probably the most heartless thing that we can do. And that was the first thing this man did when he came into office. And I am really excited to see him get voted out of office next year. And then, of course, we've got Buddy Dyer. And we all know how I feel about that idiot. But, okay, sorry. Am I right, Corey?
Oh no, it's a big thing in the Down Syndrome Association community too. We went and we wrote letters. We did a whole big campaign on it to make our voices heard. It's a shame.
And fell on deaf ears. Fell on deaf ears. So, yeah, okay.
But 3,500 jobs, that's awesome.
A lot of
3,500
jobs,
Look,
yeah.
absolutely. Look, the addition of the 3,500 jobs to the area is a great thing. And, I'll joke around about them being minimum wage jobs. They're actually better than minimum wage jobs. And there's, especially at Universal. Teresa's husband works for Universal, and their benefits are fantastic. They're great to work for. Kelvin loves working there. So I really can't say anything bad about that. Then 3,500 jobs are 3,500 jobs. And I'm glad to see it. And it's
also good to see that there's a lot of people coming to Florida. I mean, that's always a good thing.
The tourism is up, absolutely. That's always a good thing. Especially
95 million people. It's a lot.
Yeah.
No, these aren't only entry-level jobs, are they?
No.
There was some management level.
It's mixed, yeah.
No, it's mixed. And even the entry-level jobs are not base minimum wage. They're better than minimum wage. So that's an unfair characterization. But still, it's the living their dreams part.
Yeah.
You get a little. That gets a little dicey. That's a little hyperbolic, but
I don't know.
No,
it is a dream.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's what he meant, though.
Oh.
That it was like living their dream because they love theme parks and they want to work in a theme park. It's in terms of being able to support a family and.
Oh, that's the dream.
Well, I mean, I would assume that would be what he meant. Live their dream. Is that it's 3,500 new jobs, so these people have a job, they can live their dream. Not necessarily that they're working at Universal and living their dream, but we all know that most of those jobs are not enough to support a family on.
They're not.
So that's where I make that comment, but not from the standpoint. No, if you love, like for you and for Sean and for Dustin and for Corey, who all worked at Disney/Universal at some point in their lives. That absolutely was living a dream for you guys. And that's actually what we're talking about in our segment this week, working for Walt Disney World and what that was like. And I got to lower the brightness on my screen here. I'm getting glare. But, I don't think that's what the governor was referencing personally. But
Right. I didn't know. I don't trust people with two first names. So.
Craig Williams.
Corey Martin.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Martin Corey.
Yeah, Martin. It works, doesn't it?
Sean Tom.
That works. Whirling Kathy.
Shaun.
Shaun. That is my new name on Google Plus for the next 2 years. I have to live with Shaun.
Shaun.
Oh, I messed up. I was trying to get my Vanity Google Plus profile URL, and they only let me add characters to the end of my last name, Thompson. So I found this trick that if you go and edit your name, you can add your middle initial into the center of it. So I changed my first name to SHA, my last name to UN, and then I could put the J Thompson after the URL. But they only let you change your name 3 times in 2 years. So I have to be Shaun for 2 years.
And check it out when he comments on YouTube. You'll see that too.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so I wrote this frantic email to Google Plus support. No response. So
I think they're all laughing. They're reading that email,
I'm sure they
cracking up laughing.
It's so embarrassing. But at least I have my URL that I want.
Yeah.
Shaun.
Yes.
Well, guess what? That's how you're being introduced from now on. I want his lower third changed.
Okay, you got it.
Shaun.
Capital SHA space lowercase UN. Oh well.
Shaun.
I'll live with it.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. More news.
More news.
All right, our second story. The Muppets' John Henson passes away at age 48. John Henson, the son of Muppets creator Jim Henson, passed away suddenly on Friday, February 14th. Henson, who was 48, had a heart attack at his home in Saugerties, New York. He followed his father's puppeteering career and was the puppeteer for Sweetums, the ogre from 1996 to 2005. One of his performances was playing Sweetums for the video portion of Muppet Vision 3D at Disney's Hollywood Studios. The Henson Company released a statement saying, "It is with great sadness that we confirm that John Henson, son of Jim and Jane Henson, and brother to Lisa, Cheryl, Brian, and Heather, died at age 48 of a sudden massive heart attack on Friday, February 14th, while at home with his daughter. John served as a shareholder and a board member of the Jim Henson Company. He leaves 2 daughters, Katrina, 15, and Sydney, 10, and his wife."
Go ahead. Gyeonggi?
His wife.
Gyeonggi.
Gyeonggi?
I apologize for mispronouncing that. A private service is being planned.
That's a shame.
It is very sad.
Yeah.
And especially
So young.
young. 48. I mean, that, it's a little scary, actually, when you're when you're there, and you start hearing stories like that. So
Every time I hear about a massive heart attack, I think of Bob because it just happens just like that.
yeah, that's
No warning.
and such a shame. So our thoughts go out to his family and the
Absolutely.
folks at the Henson Studios. We've had a chance to visit there a number of times with the Backstage Magic tour with Adventures by Disney, and that's the only way you get to go on that tour is with Adventures by Disney because the studio's not open to the public, and you really kind of get a feel for that place and what went into it. And
It's such a cool place.
It's the
Yeah,
old
it
Charlie
is.
Chaplin Studios.
His footprints are in the concrete.
Yeah. So
Our kids watch Sid the Science Kid. Remember we saw the
Yeah,
demonstration? It's so funny to see it, now that they're watching it, to know how it's done.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah. So, all right.
All right, so our last news story, fire on the roof of Little Mermaid attraction at Walt Disney World. The journey of the Little Mermaid at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom closed briefly on Thursday night for a small fire on the roof. According to Reedy Creek Fire, sparks from the fireworks landed on foliage on the roof and caught it on fire. Witnesses say that the fire spread to the rockwork, but crews were able to put it out with a fire extinguisher. There were no injuries, and the ride was quickly reopened.
Yeah, Nikki Mancini, or Nikki Bell, on the boards was actually in town while this happened. She was in the Magic Kingdom when this happened, and like you said, the fireworks sparked a fire on top of it, and later that night they were able to open the ride, even though it had caught on fire. Like not just a small electrical fire or anything. I mean, the roof was on fire.
The roof.
But they put it out with fire extinguishers.
Should we be doing this when you say that?
Apparently, there's supposed to be fire sprinklers up there that weren't working. So they're
Ooh,
looking
scandalous.
That's not good.
Well, that's all. If you ever noticed, when fireworks are happening, there's a lot of buildings that do have sprinklers on top of them so they don't catch on fire. And I guess nobody checked this one, or
I just wonder if it
I'm
makes
surprised by that.
makes
Yeah.
the Imagineers nervous now that the mine train is pretty much all going to be this. Like the cover of the mountain's just going to be grass and fake trees, and that's closer technically to
the
firing location. So
well, it depends where they're setting them, because some of the fireworks come from back in the woods.
sure.
So
And it depends on how the wind is blowing.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into when and if they'll launch the fireworks, and certainly that's one of them.
I'm sure that has been a precaution for them, having some sort of flame resistant
sure.
roof for a thatched roof kind of thing. I'm sure it's a precaution they're taking.
Have there been any pictures from it?
Oh, there's a video on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see
That
it.
night,
Always
someone
a video
uploaded
on
it
YouTube.
immediately.
I should have.
Anything happens.
And it was a big flame too. It wasn't like a.
That's what
a
I was
small-
wondering.
Really? I mean, so it was like,
It was probably a good 1.5 feet. Like you
Oh,
saw the
wow.
flames. Yeah.
wow.
We'll link to the video in the show notes so everyone can see. But yeah.
Was it like a condensed area, or was it starting to spread?
No, it was condensed. It wasn't
Okay.
like a huge wildfire, but
Yeah,
yeah,
fire's a fire.
that is true.
Yeah.
I crocheted on a pillow.
But obviously, it could not have been that serious if
No,
they
I
were
think
able to open the ride again.
I think that they had started evacuation, but then by the time they had gotten the fire out, it was safe, so they let everyone back in. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that will do it for the news. Sean, we're going to move on to rapid fire, and we will start with Sean.
Oh, good. More talking. So mine is about the Joffrey's coffee blends for Disney parks are now available online. So Joffrey's, they started serving coffee in the parks probably about a year ago.
Is that really their tagline? Taste our passion.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Wow.
Interesting.
All right. Well, so they have different blends for different parts of the parks and actually like different restaurants here at Walt Disney World. So they have like an Artist Point one, Carthay Circle out in California Adventure. There's a Boma and a Jico blend. A Flying Fish has a blend, and then there's also like a French Bistro one. That
Okay,
is
I'm
catered
intrigued.
for Monsieur Paul and also Chefs de France. So you can order them online, and they're about $14 to $16 a pound, and you can order them ground or whole bean. So you can have them ordered.
So no K-cups.
No K-cups.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad.
But I think this is great. I think it's a really unique thing.
Could you imagine if they'd done this with Cafe Valet? take the memory of your crappy hotel room coffee home with you.
I'm glad
That's their
updated the
tagline.
Joffreys. Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a really nice gift that you can take home or a souvenir. And I don't know. I haven't tried any of them yet. I guess you can order them in the restaurants, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I have two small things that kind of just came out in the past day. The dates for the Food and Wine Festival were announced this morning, and that is September 19th through November 10th. They've extended it a whole week this year.
Wow.
For a total of 53 days.
Oh.
The festival runs.
Wow.
So that's...
It's good they came out with it today because today is National Drink Wine Day.
So it's appropriate.
Yeah.
You
And
can
of
drink
course you
wine.
would know that.
You know, Julie told me. Guess what today is? Podcast day.
And then the second thing, the menus for the outdoor kitchens for Flower and Garden have been released. So we updated those on the site yesterday, so we'll have a link to those.
What?
No, it's fine. That's kind of my rapid fire, but sorry.
Well, then never mind. I will wait.
No, you can talk about it. I wanted to go into more detail about
He
it.
was just giving a teaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Piggylicious.
I thought you had to go to the bathroom. The way he was sitting back there, he's like juggling in his seat. And I'm like, oh, he's doing the pee-pee dance. He's, you really should have gone before the show. Because, the cameras aren't going to switch themselves. But, okay.
All right.
Thank you, Sean. Of
course.
Gregory.
Yeah, so if watching 40-minute long movies about Vinylmations is your type of thing, right now you can watch Blank, a Vinylmation love story on the Google Play Store for free until the 23rd of February. There was a premiere at Hollywood Studios last week for the movie. It was a Disney Parks blog meetup, and you've been able to watch it on Google Play for a while now.
What the hell is it?
It's okay. So they came up with this idea. Disney Interactive did, and they took Vinylmations that were blank, and they created this little love story out of it, where a vinyl wants to get painted, but he never ends up getting painted, and then he falls in love with another vinyl. There's no talking. It's a silent film. It's all done in stop motion. I tried to watch it. I couldn't make it through about more than 3 minutes.
So it's basically unwatchable.
No,
but
it's not unwatchable.
It's not unwatchable. I'm sure for people who are into that sort of thing, it is definitely going to be their thing. For me, I couldn't.
So it's
make it through.
Vinylmation porn, in other words.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually think it's really creative, and it reminded me kind of WALL-E because it's these like little characters that are inanimate, but they have personalities, and they're moving around, and it's kind of a cute story. It's way too long, I think. It's 40 minutes.
So, well, like we talked about, it was supposed to originally be a web series, smaller episodes and put all together. But at D23, they showed a little extended clip of it that was around 9 minutes, and people loved it. So, so they decided to make it one big, long Vinylmation love story. And, I mean, it's more cool on an aspect that this is the second thing that Disney Interactive has done in relation to the Disney parks, because Disney Interactive is also behind It's a Small World animated series that is on YouTube. That's kind of like a creepy Dora the Explorer type, learn about other countries and languages and stuff. I mean, I watched them all. But yeah, Disney Interactive is starting to do movies based on stuff that's in the theme parks.
I thought Disney Interactive
about pins.
I thought Disney Interactive was their video game arm.
Well, yeah, but then they've also been changing everything that's been happening with Disney Interactive and cutting jobs and kind of changing the whole landscape of
Disney
it.
Interactive is actually the overarching thing. They actually do the apps too.
Oh,
So they
okay.
do Disney Animated, the iPad app that was really popular. So they do a whole
Well, they had to diversify them because as a video game company, they were losing money hand over fist. So,
But it's interesting. I mean, it's worth a free download if you can make it through the 40 minutes.
And if you went to the premiere, you got free Vinylmations.
And they're selling them at D Street now, the Blank and Bow vinyls. I don't know who would want them. They're just
Blank.
They're blank. They're plain white vinyls with a ribbon and a bow tie.
Yeah.
I know the bigger blank one a lot of people use for autographs, but these are small, so I don't know what you'd use them for.
I know a lot of people buy the big ones and then they do custom Vinylmations.
Yeah.
So they'll
I'm not
carve
allowed
them
to
up.
answer that without getting an explicit rating on our show. So, look, the Vinylmation, I bought what I needed to decorate the studio. I thought this was going to set off some obsession, and lo and behold, it didn't. So, just can't get into it. Sorry.
I had a
tried.
mission to collect like all the Donalds and everything that pertained to me. There was like a football one, the Mardi Gras one. Once I collected all those, I'm pretty much done. But there's always a new Donald, so I'm still going.
They don't seem to be, I mean, you don't see people lining up in the store to get Vinylmations like you did with pins. But it seems like both of them are sort of
on release days,
Maybe.
it can get pretty crazy. But I think if you ever like trading vinyls or even just buying them, the best thing to do is go to the Disney Store outlet whenever they're on sale for like a third to a quarter of the price. Like they have the big vinyls that cost $75 there for only like $20. So, but that's the only way I can do it. I can't afford to. Oh, that lady's mean. Or that man. I'm sorry.
What?
Eric or Eric
calling people out in chat.
Never mind.
He was getting distracted. Someone was
my bad.
Someone said something about the Steelers.
But yeah, vinyls. Vinylmation. That's it.
The Chatterati. The Chatterati is
And I apologize.
antagonizing Craig.
Yeah.
I apologize for calling you a she, Eric. I saw Aaron right above you, and
No, you're not.
No, that
My
was
bad.
intentional. All right. Well, thank you, Craig. Mrs. Worley.
We have breaking news, new resort mugs. And got a picture up there on the screen. They're starting to come into the different resorts as they run out of the current stock. I'm not real impressed with the picture because, as everybody says, it looks like Donald's behind bars.
What is the theme? I can't really tell. Are they on a subway?
Yeah, they're like sitting in a car or a tram or something, but I'm not impressed. But they have the chip in them. It's like last year's mugs. They're $8.99 if you want 1 day, $11.99 for 2 days, $14.99 for 3 days, or $17.99 for the length of your stay.
Wow.
And they still come with different color tops.
There's 4 right
Yeah,
now,
there's
I think.
4: red, blue, yellow, and purple.
They just look so generic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
they
they
just look
are.
generic.
And after last year's thing, when I went to take my mug back the second time and they went, there's no discount or whatever, it's like, okay, now I don't do resort mugs anymore. It's just as easy for me to go buy some Coke or Pepsi and drink it that way instead of using their mugs.
Yeah.
So, but people are excited there's new mugs.
It's always a big deal whenever I think one of the biggest blog posts of last year was the one you put up when the new ones came out.
So there's a blog with pictures and pricing, and they have big signs in the food court of where to go to get your mug. And if you're on a dining plan, this comes with your
Dining plan, right? And links to that and everything else we talk about on the show, of course, on the show notes page, disunplugged.com. Thank you,
You're
Kathy.
welcome.
Mr. Martin.
Mickey's Jam and Jungle Parade at Disney's Animal Kingdom will be ending in June. The exact date hasn't been announced, but a Disney spokeswoman said that the construction on Avatar Land will soon impede the parade path and viewing areas for the guests. The parade's been around since October 2001 and showcases Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy in their safari costumes as they participate in a larger-than-life tribute to their animal friends.
And, I have never seen this parade.
Really?
Really?
I have never seen this parade.
Now, the reason...
I have to get over and see it then before
It's fun. It's fun. I don't particularly care for the Christmas version of it, but the regular version is awesome. Now,
Jingle Jungle.
Yeah, because they just say jingle, jingle, jingle instead of jungle the whole time. They just replace, anytime it's the word jingle, they replace, or jungle, they replace it with jingle. And it's like, you couldn't write a new song. Ridiculous.
I do like how they feature a family. There's a family
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
day. I think that's cool.
There was a number of families, I think.
Yeah, it's basically every big float they put a different family on, and they look awkward all the time. They don't know if they're
Yeah.
supposed to wave or are they waving too much.
But it's fun.
or-
That's a nice memory for them.
I know when we did one of the FAMs a couple years ago, as part of the FAM, we got to go backstage and see the floats, and you got to see all the details that were in it. So it's going to be a shame that it's going away. I would hope Disney would put something small in its place, but I sort of doubt that's not going to happen.
Now, I'm wondering, how is Avatar Land going to affect this? I looked at the whole map, and unless they do a huge scrim right there, or they can't block that path off.
It's the way Animal Kingdom is set up. You have two basic backstage areas. One is behind Camp Minnie Mickey in Africa on that side of the park. The other is behind Asia. The parade float housing is back there behind the Africa Gate and Camp Minnie Mickey. And
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and so is their cast cafeteria and all their cast member services are back there. So as they're expanding, their parade staging area is going to be blocked off. So
it's not to guest demand.
Right, exactly. The way you're describing it, it sounds actually legitimate that they can't access the parade anymore, and they're going to have to figure out a way to stage it differently.
Okay, the skeptical side of me says if they really wanted to have a parade there, they would have found a way to do something. Isn't this sort of like their excuse to get rid of the parade?
Where there's a parade, there's a way, I guess.
Well, you know what I mean?
Oh, Lord.
It just seems a little strange that all the parades are going away, except Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't really mind that
I
the
don't know.
parade's going away, but I hope they try to find something once Christmas season comes back around.
Right, I
Because
mean,
if they don't
replace it.
have that parade, all of a sudden Animal Kingdom has nothing to offer for the holidays.
Exactly.
But I said, it's things like that, the parades, they just took away Push. The Candy Lady in Epcot's gone. The Ziti sisters are gone. It's like all those little things that, at least for me, helped distinguish it or make it better than just an amusement
But
park.
it's also possible that they're pulling some of these things back to replace it with something new.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. Yes.
So
Who were the ZD sisters? The ladies that wear red and
The red ladies, yeah.
Okay, because they were definitely there the last time I was at Epcot, just a couple days ago.
Well,
They were
supposed to be
dancing
done.
The
And,
report was that they were supposed to be done a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they were definitely dancing up on the steps where Corey likes to let Ferris and Finley run around. So, unless some guests are just wearing red dresses and
Drink around the world.
it was Corey and the kids in the red dresses. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Corey. Mr. West.
Yeah, I have, as we discussed earlier with Sean, there's some new information that's being brought out about, the outdoor kitchens at the International Flower and Garden Festival. We also have a lot of information on not only the menus, but the different topiaries that are being expected. One of the new restaurants or outdoor kitchens, is Urban Eats, which is sustainably farmed food, much of which will be grown in the Land Pavilion. And the menu will include land-grown eggplant scallop with romesco sauce, ghost pepper-dusted tilapia, winter melon salad, mango chutney, vegan red and white wines, and gluten-free beer. So if you like gluten-free and vegan stuff, that's one of the options. But we'll have this link on our show notes it's just a huge amount of information about the upcoming Flower and Garden Festival. Yeah.
All right.
The greatest thing is going to be the Piggylicious bacon cupcake with maple frosting and a pretzel crunch.
Say that again.
Piggylicious bacon cupcake with maple frosting and a pretzel crunch.
Oh my God.
Which kitchen is going to have that? Do you know?
That's the American, the Smokehouse.
Oh.
Of course, that's going to be
Okay.
It's a one-stop shop: beer, barbecue, and cupcakes.
That works.
Yeah.
heart attack in a cupcake tin. Bacon cupcakes. We'll make anything out of bacon.
I am
good.
super excited about how they're taking what they did with Flower and Garden last year, and they're expanding and running with it with the outdoor kitchens.
Yeah.
and this food and wine experience in the Flower and Garden. It's brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant, and you know what? They borrowed a page out of the Food and Wine Festival's playbook with that. They did it differently. They didn't, it's not like food and what.
Nothing.
Something's happening in chat. They did it differently. They made it really kind of fit really well with Flower and Garden. So,
Well, because before, other than view the flowers and go to the shops and stuff and the seminars, I never really got much out of Flower and Garden other than at this time of year it's really pretty. That for me, if you were really into that stuff, you could.
yeah, no, Flower and Garden was getting boring because it was the same topiaries, it was the same stuff.
Well, they also took a lot. I look at it a little bit different. I'm glad they're bringing the outdoor kitchens to this. But over the years, what they did flower-wise, display-wise, they've taken a lot of that away. And now they've sort of blended the two things together so that it's like you're strolling a park and you're enjoying some flowers and some food, where before it was more emphasis on the flowers. So they've sort of fixed the problem that they had.
Right.
And now it's just a big cross-promotion with whatever movie. That's why there's going to be all the Muppets stuff this year, because Muppets Most Wanted comes out March.
But I think they've done some really cool and creative things with that, too. And
they have.
You know, I thought what they did with the Oz, the Great and Powerful was kind of cool last year. And so, all right. Good.
Cool.
Thank you, Dustin.
You're welcome.
Since we have a little more time than we would normally have, we're going to kind of do both closing segments, if that's okay with you. At the top of the show, I mentioned that we were doing a poll on the DIS Unplugged Facebook page. This was inspired by an email we received from one of our listeners, Liz Travis, in Taunton, Massachusetts. And she writes, I have a question about the use of handicap stalls in bathrooms. Is it okay to use the handicap stall if there is a line waiting to use the bathroom and the handicap stall comes open? There is and there are no visible handicapped people in line. Is it okay? I was in line last week, and the woman in front of me did not want to use that stall, so I did not want to either. So it made me think, and I thought that's a really good question. And it made me think of if any of you are fans of the show Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, he did a bit on this, which I always thought was really funny. And we're actually going to put a link to that in the show notes page this week if you want to see that video, because there's a compilation of that video on YouTube. And so head out to disunplugged.com and check that out, because it is funny. And one of the questions I put in the poll was, kind of taken from, was inspired by the Curb Your Enthusiasm, and a couple of our listeners
picked up on that
right away. So the question that we asked on Facebook: is it okay to use a handicapped stall or bathroom at Walt Disney World when you're not handicapped? And we have almost 300 results so far. I'm not going to give the numbers. We're going to do that next week. We're also going to draw a prize randomly from the people who participate in the poll. And I think we might even make this a weekly thing that we do every week. We ask a different question, because we're not giving away enough prizes. I've been complaining about this now for a few months, that we're really not. I love that stuff. I've got the Prizematron sitting right here.
She's getting a little dusty.
And she's getting a little dusty because she just gets used for the outro of the show now. That's it. I paid God knows how much money for this thing, and I use it the only time it gets used now to push one button and play a 10-second clip. I mean, I can. Or one other things.
Oh, yeah, you can play quotes.
I can play some movie quotes.
Where would Tina Turner be right now if she rolled over and said, "Hit me again, Ike," and put
classic.
some stank on it?
That's one of my favorites. But we also have the ability to give away prizes with this thing. So we want to kind of revive the Prizematron, I think. And in this case, I think we're just going to give away a $50 Disney gift card at random to one of the people who respond to the poll on Facebook. You do have to like the DIS Unplugged Facebook page in order to participate in the poll. But that would be a very, very good thing for you to do, because there are contests coming. There are some things coming on the DIS Unplugged Facebook page that you are absolutely not going to want to miss, because the prizes are going to get a lot better.
Like pick something off the shelf behind Pete.
No.
Wow.
Shut up.
People are going to like that.
Stop helping.
I want that hat that's laying on those books.
That was what they came up with a few weeks ago, because they could see the glare of my teleprompter in the back window. So they just put a hat there, and we haven't come up with anything more creative since then.
We're too busy to redecorate.
No, well, actually, in the next few months, the studio is going to change pretty substantially. We're redoing it, but that's a conversation for another time. Anyway, so what we asked people on Facebook, and we're going to ask you guys to chime in here, is it okay to use a handicapped bathroom or stall when you're at Walt Disney World, if there's a line or even if there's not a line? We asked, the options were, yes, it's okay to use a handicapped bathroom regardless. Doesn't matter whether there's a handicapped person waiting or not. If it's an open stall, you can use it. The other option was, yes, as long as there are no handicapped people waiting for the stall, it's okay to use it. Or no, it's never okay, you wait. You wait, which is the Curb Your Enthusiasm reference. So, Craig.
Step out on that limb.
Let's just put his email up on the screen. Hold on.
I've got lots of opinions.
Well, would you like to share one of those?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I've done this before. Not at Disney World, I think. But, you know, if you're at a concert or even at like a sporting event where if you go right whenever there's a break and play like halftime at a football game, you know, everyone swarms straight to the bathrooms and it's literally first come, first serve. Doesn't matter who's there. You go to whatever you want. So I understand it in that aspect. I guess I see handicap restrooms almost more as it says it's handicap accessible. So that's saying that they have that option available, but at the same time, it doesn't say handicap only. Otherwise, that would be on the door. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would hope that people would be polite enough that if they do see someone there, that they obviously step back and let them go first. But if no one's around, why not? I guess.
What do you think, Sean?
I don't know. I think it's complicated. I think. All right, so we're talking about a handicap stall in a bathroom,
Correct.
not this individual handicap.
The family
Not that one.
restrooms.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would
not
never do that. But I understand in a situation where, you know, if it's busy and that's the only one open, I guess it's you judge it on based on the situation. If it's really crowded and you think that there's a possibility that someone might come that would need it, then I probably wouldn't. But I have before. I guess in the situation, if you use it and then you open the door and someone's waiting there, I mean, it would be so awkward. I'd feel the need to apologize profusely. Like, I'm so sorry that I took this stall. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it's
no.
tough.
I think if everybody's going to be honest at one point or another, we've all done it. I've done it.
We've all done it.
And look, if there's nobody else in the bathroom and you know the stall is taken and that's open, yeah, I use it. I don't know if I'm committing a crime, but every time I do, I think of that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, which you really got to check it out. DISUnplugged.com. Check out the clip. It's so funny. It's typical classic Larry David. But Corey, what do you think?
I'm option 2 for sure. I think there are sometimes we have to use them with the kids. I don't know why, but they put the baby changers in there sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah.
We try to use the companion restrooms whenever we can, but not every restroom or location has a companion. We try to use that. There are some times I have to bring both kids in there and with a stroller. So I have to use that. There's no way we can fit in the regular
Yeah, I
one.
think that's a little different.
Yeah.
I think that's, that there's a compelling reason. If you have to change a baby and that's where they put the changing table, then you have to use it. Yeah. But all things being equal, let's say that's not the case.
If there was a line and it was just a strictly revolving door, like one in, one out, one in, one out, and that was the one that came open, I'd go in there. I'd be right out. But I'm not going to go camping in there, just chilling because it's like, the Cadillac of restrooms, setting up the grill stalls. So
they are very roomy.
So if I think there's that too. If there's this line, nobody's going to just leave that open. Exactly. That just makes the line longer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would use it. Absolutely. But, the question also states that would you use it if somebody was handicapped in the line? Like if there was somebody in a wheelchair behind me or I see him in a line or
then absolutely not.
I mean, absolutely not.
Yeah, front
but
of the
it's
line.
also, judging that, okay, only people in a wheelchair are handicapped. So it's hard to make that judgment.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you can't poll everybody in line.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody?
You got to go with what's obvious. If there's somebody in a wheelchair in the line, absolutely, that person should just go to the front of the line and use that stall, and that's the end of it. Kathy, what about you?
I pretty much agree with what everybody said here, but I remember Skip last week, Skip Cotter was talking about that there was somebody had gone into the handicapped restroom and he was teaching his son how to wash their hands, and it took him like 10 minutes because he was educating him how to do this. Now, I think if you're in there and you're doing it and you're going to teach your kid how to wash their hands, take them out to the regular sinks.
And in Skip's, especially in Skip's case, he has to use the handicap stall. He had no other options for him. He is wheelchair bound. He's not able to get out of the wheelchair. And that's being insensitive, because if you're not handicapped and you've got to use that stall, in and out, okay? This is, in and out, because it could be a situation where someone like Skip is waiting to get in and he has no other alternatives. You can show your kid how to wash his hands at the sink, because there are probably sinks other places than just the handicap stall.
But I agree with Corey that you don't know by looking at people what their handicap is. So somebody who looks to you to be normal may not be and really needs that stall, or you just have to
I think we want to be careful with the normal word, but...
Well, you know what I mean? You just sort of have to judge the situation, because, I mean, if there's a long line, I would turn and ask somebody.
And now I really need everybody to watch this clip, okay? I really need everybody to watch this clip.
Can't we just post it right now?
No, I don't want to put it on. I didn't want to broadcast it in the show because it's property of HBO,
sure.
and I don't have the rights to use that. But it is up on YouTube, and, But, yeah, you got to watch it now. You really got to watch this clip. And if you can't wait for the show notes, you Google search, if you're listening live or watching live, to Google search of Larry David handicap stall. And it'll come up in YouTube. Really, really funny. But, you got to watch it, especially now. Dustin?
Yeah, I think I agree with what everybody said, but there's some things that are sticking out to me. First of all, she said in her original question that she didn't want to do it because the person in front of her didn't want to do it. Go into a handicap stall,
Well, that's why she's asking, because I think it probably is a question for a lot of people what the etiquette is with that, and I don't really know the answer to that. Whether it's if there is an actual etiquette.
My personal feeling is that I would use it if no one was there that needed it. I'd be quick, and I'd be terrified that they'd be waiting for me when I go out. The other thing I think that's worth mentioning in this conversation is that we are talking about Disney World, and if you go into the men's restrooms, at least, I mean, in some of the larger areas, there's just so many stalls in there, and then maybe one or two of the handicap stalls at the end of it. So, for me, it hasn't become a huge problem. But if it was necessary, I would go in there if nobody else was in line that needed it, for sure.
And I'm cracking up at the number of. Just as we're talking about this, people that are watching live are going over and doing this poll.
I just want to mention something real quick. Tom told me that some people are going and liking the fan group, and that's great too. But just to mention, we're talking about the official DIS Unplugged page on Facebook.
Right.
It's facebook.com/DIS Unplugged.
And
that's where the polls will be.
Okay. So please go check that out. Like our page, answer our poll. And next week, we're going to give somebody a $50 Disney gift card just for taking the time to do that. So enjoy that. What are the other things that we wanted to talk about this week? Dustin had come across a post on disboards.com. What ride would you bring back or create? Posted by Andrea Jawaniak, I believe it's maybe how it's pronounced.
Probably.
And we thought we'd spend a little time talking about what ride you would bring back. I'll tell you now that, although I'm not the guy from last month's top 10 threads that was bitter about Horizons, I would bring back Horizons. I loved Horizons. I was really sad when that ride went away. I would also bring back the original Journey into Imagination.
Thank you.
Well, the original one I loved.
Yes.
It's this atrocity they've put in its place that should be bulldozed.
The only redeeming quality about that.
Kathy is ready to come across the table at me.
The only redeeming quality I think of Journey into Imagination right now is the fact that it has Eric Idle in it, and that's a funny portion of it.
Yeah, to a degree. It's just the original. The original.
Yeah.
That I would bring back.
I would bring back Skyway to Tomorrowland.
Yeah?
I enjoyed
the buckets.
that.
Yeah, the sky.
I couldn't ride it. If I ever had to ride one of those sky rides, I had to sit on the floor. I had to sit on the floor. It just that the heights. I'm terrible with heights.
And for Julie, I would bring back Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah. What about you, Kath?
Figment.
That's it? That's all you'd bring back?
I never saw Horizons. I saw World of Motion once. That's when we first started coming.
And I think Test Track is a much better attraction than World of Motion was, personally.
Yeah, I feel, and you know what? I'd probably bring back, like when we first started coming here, Interventions. I thought was a really cool place. They had the Sega games and stuff in there, and I've never seen Interventions as busy as it was when that kind of stuff was in there. If they brought it back instead of, I get the point of what it was supposed to be, but if they took it back to that, I think you're absolutely right. I think in those days, Interventions had an energy to it that it does not have anymore. To me, it's a graveyard now. It's a place to go hang out where it's cool.
Yeah, and whereas I remember when Sega had the big display there where they had like 50 Sega Genesises, if that's how you pronounce Genesai set up, and you could play them, and they had different arcade games you could play and stuff like that. That was really cool, and there was just a lot of cool stuff in Interventions. Now it's like 5th grade science fair.
Right, and
on
then
steroids.
There's one little corner in the back where they have some video games from the different systems that no one can find because it's.
And I just think when you have all that space, you have all that space in a theme park like that, why don't you got to be able to come up with something better? Because
there must be a company out there that would love to sponsor something like that in Interventions. It doesn't have to all just be Disney.
Right. Yeah, you can imagine if a company like Intel sponsored Interventions and new technology and showcasing current technology and different things. I think that could be really cool. But make it interactive, the games and stuff like that. I think absolutely. Craig, what would you bring back or create?
I'll do 3 and a bonus. My first would be the original Test Track, just because that was the ride that I got to work at when I worked for Disney, and I got to put my name in hidden locations in the ride that are now covered up with black, and all the other stuff they put in the new Tron Test Track. Blah, blah, blah.
Well said.
That was the bonus.
That was the bonus. Then Alien Encounter. George Lucas and Disney working together at their finest. So scary, so good. But
Michael Eisner hated that ride.
Yeah. Well,
hated that attraction.
Was he scared of it?
No, he didn't think it was good enough.
It didn't have enough Bette Midler. He put Bette Midler in everything.
Didn't have enough Bette Midler.
Number 3, Cranium Command.
That was great.
Yeah.
All the classic SNL stars. And that Hans and Franz being the heartbeat and pumping it up. Just it was such a cheesy but cool thing.
I think
that
bring
remember
back
from my childhood.
Bring back Wonders of Life Pavilion in general.
Yes,
Make it not that's another graveyard. You talk about wasted space at Epcot. Interventions and Wonders of Life.
Yeah, and then for Create, I wish they instead of doing the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay at Disneyland, originally they were supposed to do a whole dark ride with Nightmare Before Christmas, but Tim Burton didn't want it originally, so the rumor goes. So that's why they just came up with the overlay during the season. But a nice Nightmare Before Christmas ride would
be awesome.
Great idea. That would hold me over for a couple days.
Dustin, what about you?
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, and the first thing that comes to my mind is I would like to see the original backlot tour be in place, where they had
Residential Street.
They also had the walkthrough portion where you would go through the sound stages and see the Mickey Mouse Club stuff. You would go into the prop warehouse, and there was one portion where you rode on the honeybee from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I did that when I was younger.
Did you really?
I was on the wing.
Is that because every time we go back, I try to remind my kids about that. Is that soundstage being used for something now, or is that just backstage? Do you know?
From what I understand, the one that the prop warehouse, not the prop warehouse, that's still there. I forget what it was. It's like the creature
Right,
warehouse. Yes, from what I understand, it's still there. From what I understand, that bumblebee or honeybee is still there.
Oh, wow.
But I think they've been gutting things out because they also use that soundstage as a place where they test like ride vehicles and attractions and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a multi-use space, but those, from what I understand, those things still exist. Yeah.
That was a cool tour. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more that I know that my kids would absolutely love, and I would love to see them see it, would be Mickey and Minnie's house. They were too young to really experience it, but they would absolutely enjoy that right now. So we have to go to Disneyland for that.
Yeah.
It's a shame, though, that, you know.
Oh, it's a shame that they have to go to Disneyland?
No, that they removed it, yeah. They would enjoy that. But.
Anything that we missed? Anything that...
Yeah, I want to go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Sean.
Sha'un.
So I also have 3 and a bonus, and the bonus is like the real one for me. Skyway, I would go with for one of my 3. Definitely kind of like the swan boats. I never got to experience that.
No, neither did I.
Okay.
Before my time. And then I'd also say like the canoes and the keel boats in Frontierland, because those always look so cool to me.
Because they still do those out in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even the keel boats, they're just these small boats that you got to go on and kind of go through the water and stuff like that. And then my real one, Dustin kind of mentioned, the Golden Girls house.
Yeah,
That's the real answer.
I
never got to see it. So.
And Empty Nest as well.
Yes.
You know, they had the Empty Nest.
Yeah, I didn't care so much about that one. I wanted. I was really upset when they tore down.
But do you remember what the
Golden Girls
Osborne
house.
lights were like back then?
Yeah.
And it was like you had to walk through, and I'm not like, geez, if anything happens, there's going to be a stampede and there's going to be people laying on the ground. It was cool, but it was scary at the same time.
I thought, but having Residential Street done
that
up
was
like
awesome.
that was.
Yeah.
Didn't Kevin reference that as like the Shuffle of Despair or something like that?
And for those who aren't familiar with it, Residential Street was a backlot area at what was then Disney MGM Studios, where they would, they had the facades of all these different homes that they would use in shooting television shows and movies. And one of the homes that was there was the facade for the Golden Girls house and the Empty Nest house. And I think the house that was used in the movie Tin Men was there.
There was an Alice in Wonderland Disney Channel TV show that had that. There's a couple Disney Channel shows that
Did they
had
play the
houses there.
music as you walked by?
Oh, yeah, the music would be going.
From the show?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying Christmas music, but no, they would be playing.
Okay.
But the
I mean, I feel
tram
like I
used to
saw it.
go down
tram.
in front of the houses.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
Right.
tram?
The tram would go down
that was
Residential
part of the
Street.
tram
Would they
tour.
play the TV theme?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, man.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's pretty good. I think we had some good discussion from that. Got us to the hour, which is what I was trying to do. That will do it for this part of our show. If you're watching us live, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about what it's like to be a Disney cast member coming up. So thanks for being with us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the DIS Unplugged. Always remember, folks, stay out of the damn lakes and answer our poll on Facebook.